It is a defense of the people against the repression, aggression of the military. It's a revolution rather than a war.
I'm really excited to bring you the upcoming interview with a very special guest. You'll hear him discussing all the great and courageous work that he's currently engaged in. And if you feel inspired to help him continue these efforts, please consider making a donation earmarked for his projects. Or feel free to give a general donation that will support the wider movement in Myanmar. Our ongoing support is so helpful and appreciated by the Burmese people during these dark days. Simply go to insightmyanmar.org/donation to contribute today. Or stay tuned to the end of the episode to hear more options. Now, let's hear from that guest himself.
Life has been hard for people of Myanmar,
I'm really pleased to be joined here by Hassan. Hassan, welcome to Insight Myanmar podcast, and thank you for taking the time to share your story.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, so let's get in first a little bit of background about yourself as far as you're comfortable in sharing. Can you talk a bit about your own background, your family background, your education or biography, or whatever you're comfortable in sharing here so we can learn a little bit about you before we start to learn about everything you've been doing this year?
Yes. From myself, I am one of the minority ethnic groups. It's called Kaman. Yes. So we raise, just like any other minority peoples, we are very carefully about government. Before the coup and even before the democracy, I was born in military time. So we suffered a lot. So we start happy when democratic time is coming. I just came back from Middle East. After I arrived, it was after 5 years of democracy. So I thought that will be beginning of the democracy, everything will getting well. So I came back here to start business. Even it's now before 15 years. I just came back. So when I arrived there, I start travels and tours business, and we have car rental business, and I have also even religious travels. So we are from rich family. My father has well relationship even with military before and after. So I'm not that okay with even with my family. Yes, and because they like my family are happy with military. They can do business very well, So, but it's not none of my business. But for me, I was even in democratic time. I'm not interested in politics anymore. Even in democratic time, I am just doing my business, taking care of my family, just doing monthly, weekly. I'm helping people and outside Yangon and inside Yangon, just like orphanages. Yes. After the coup, so, we uh, we have a lot of things. We plan a lot of businesses. For me, it's totally broken. So, I cannot even say in words. It's just like we woke up from dream just like this. Everything is gone. So I had my cost was I'm renting to the foreigners, especially my friends are all are going back, in a month. Yes, when they go back, I'm suffering. So even after the coup, I can't do anything. Just like 2 weeks, I don't know what should I do about this because I didn't imagine that will be happen to us, especially. So uh, travel and tour business is already gone in COVID time. So I start planning in just like boat parties, it's events. Yes, we are arranging parties. You know, in the beginning of the January, my business very getting well. Even in COVID times, I didn't suffer, just like any other business. But my rental business is going very well, really. So after the COVID, so I just feeling if we don't fight this time, I believe this. I extremely believe it till now. Uh, if we didn't fight, we have no chance. For me, it's totally fine with military government. For sure. I cannot mention your name, but I know the military guys. I know very well. There are some other people's. Those guys, I was doing good business with them before the democracy time. So, but you know, especially I cannot. I don't want to work with the cooperate with them. You know, if I want only money, money is not future. In my belief, I believe this is for my next generation. I want to leave them. Not only money, they need education. You know, military times. How how minority I'm a Muslim, how minority people suffering in their hands. When I travel, I was a student, but they don't let me bring student passport. And when we travel for studying, we have to lie them. We are going to be walk. This is why we have to pay tax. Student don't need to pay tax, but we have to pay. We didn't go. We are Muslims. We are minority peoples. We have no. They don't allow us to hold the student passport at that time. So I don't want my next generation to suffer this again. This story will repeat, I'm sure. However, they promise people to after 1.5 year or 1 year, this this DNA is will come again. They will never stop. They will if you have money, but even if you have money, you cannot be happy like other people's. I cannot explain this in words, but I suffered. I don't want to suffer in my next generation. This is why I'm start fighting. I'm start helping people in protesting times, just like March. I was supporting after April. After April, we were providing. I had a list of money I spent for this revolution. But later of May, I cannot, so there is a lot of things I have to do. So I can't, even at least from I have support. I got support from some of my friends. It's not some, it's the only lady, I got some support from her. Uh, I sold three of my cars, my own cars. I started with my own money and still supporting to this revolution or for this. I never even I don't let I support some PDF. I support some CDMS, a lot of CDMS. I can say 1,500 CDMS were getting foods through me. But now, everybody is running. It's only left 150 like this.
So I want to go back to your description of your your minority. You describe yourself as Kemen. I believe that's ethnic Muslim in Myanmar. Can you describe a bit about the Kemen ethnicity?
Their place is located in my parents from Chaupyu. Chaupyu, Yambie Islands. Yambie Islands, it's their place. Those common people stay in Tandoe, Chaupyu. They look like they are white, common people. They are white, tall, and most of them are Muslims. And they are mixed. Sometimes they are mixed. For example, my grandma was Buddhist. Yeah,
Right.
Buddhist common. But she convert and she married my grandfather. Just like this, common peoples are mixed blood. Yeah, with some Rohingya, something like this. But their origin is from Arab.
Do you know how far back in Myanmar history they go?
Raham, Irham. It's if you know some Arabic words, there are some boats from Arabian merchant. When they lost way and they got that islands, Rahambre. It's from they are requesting Masias. Masias is Irham. Irham from Irham, it becomes to Ramye, something like this.
And one of the things that I remember reading is when the crisis came with the Rohingya, that the prejudice and the just the overall crisis and problem concerning the Rohingya, that eventually this started to affect the Kaman Muslim people that were in Myanmar, even though the Kaman and the Rohingya, as far as my understanding goes, are completely different ethnic people and have very little in common.
Yeah, it's correct. But I have no words. I know a lot of things about Rohingyas too, because in Muslims in Arkan states, they are suffering the same level. We born in Yangon. This is why we didn't suffer. But in Arkan state, Rohingya and other Muslims, they are uh, they are giving pressure on them. Those
Right.
Muslims, they don't know even, they don't know Kaman or Rohingya. No, if when they saw a Muslims, they are trading like this, the same level. There is no difference.
Right, exactly. And that's what I read. And that the argument that was made about the Rohingya was then transposed and imposed on the common Muslims, even though their ethnic background and history and origins were completely different. And it was only the religion that was shared.
Yes, yes, yeah. It's only about religions, not even ethnic groups.
You speak about having grown up in Myanmar during a military dictatorship. You left the country before the reform started. You were living in the Middle East, and then you came back and lived here during the period of reforms in the 2010s. So can you share a bit about what your experience was like as an ethnic minority, and a religious minority, as a Kaman Muslim? What was it like growing up in a military dictatorship? And then when the reform started to happen and a freer, but not completely free, but a freer society started to develop, how did that experience change for you, if at all, with given your background as a minority?
Yes, even if you have money, if you have money, you can build a good relationships between you and military. We were happy, not like this. If you have money, if you are a good family, if you have money, you can very easily to build a good relationship with military. At that times, you will be like, they will allow you everything you want. But even this, all it's going with money. Military guys, they only want money. If you have money, you can do everything. You can cross the airport. You can do inside the airport everything. You can bring. You can, but if you are a good heart, kind heart person, knowledge person, you will not be happy with them anymore. So because you are taking other person rights with your money. At that time you can happy. Now for example in Myanmar now, if you have money, you have good relationships, people are suffering, dying on the roads because of lack of oxygen. You know that. But if you have money, if you have good relationship with the military, they will trade you in a good place. You can get oxygen. There are a lot of oxygen in their hands. But how a person, good normal person, how can be happy? How can stay easily? People are suffering something like this situations. I cannot be happy. This is why I'm fighting. Not I cannot get an opportunity in military time. No, not at all. I can get a very good opportunity. I know the person who know the Myanmar very well. But I cannot, I will not stay. I will fight till the end, and I will leave the country. I cannot stay like these situations. I cannot, I cannot see myself in my next generation, and my son, my kids. I cannot see. It's very terrible, very terrible. For example, whenever I came back to my country, every year I came back for in summer from the university. At that times we have to visit to the Thailand. It's very, it's example for me. I have to pay tax $100, $200 yearly, just a tax. That means we were walking outside. They are just earning money from the minority. They want money. They didn't see it. Even in things, even in democratic time, the embassy, they took our votes themselves. We didn't know, because they are seeing, minority peoples just like money, just like pocket. When you visit, every year when we visit to the immigration, we on our hands $10 or some perfume, something like that, we have to give them. If we didn't give them, they don't let you go. They will make problem with you.
So during this democratic transition period of the 2010s, we've heard that for many, especially for Burmese Buddhists and certainly for others as well, this was a time of improved opportunities and certain kinds of freedoms. Speaking as an ethnic and religious minority, and in within your community of others, perhaps unlike you, who didn't have the same connections or privileges or money or finances available, was there an improvement in the 2010s for people in your community? If so, how did that benefit manifest?
It's totally different. It's totally different, really. After the democratic time, even in the government, they we can speak, we can talk. Yeah, even if we are minority, we are not that afraid like military time, especially at the airport. It's democratic government. If I say honestly, they are not that perfect, but they are 10 times better than the military and things in government. Really, those 5 years were not that great, but it's acceptable as a human being. They cannot change everything. Yeah. I support democratic. Totally, I support, but not only for NLD. I am not
Sure.
that political person, but I support democratic. Totally, I support them. This is why after the coup, I start doing what I did. Yes.
I think one of the things that you said that some listeners might find surprising is that there are people such as your family background who are Muslim, but with their background of connections and of finances, they're able to have very close relationships with the military and with top military leaders. And I think in the news that we hear about some of the anti-Muslim rhetoric that comes from the military, for sure, from some of the more extremist Buddhist monks, this idea about that comes from both the 969 movement, Mabatha, as well as from in the Tamada, that they need to protect the country, protect Buddhism in there from a Muslim invasion. And so I think hearing all of this in the news and hearing this rhetoric and this fear tactic, I think that many would find it surprising that those Burmese Muslims, even with money, would have a close relationship with senior military leaders, that relationship would be possible on either side, on the side of the Muslims who have some money, given how extreme the anti-Muslim rhetoric is, and from the military side as well, given this fear they're always espousing about how they need to protect Buddhism. So can you say a little bit more about how this relationship is possible in spite of the last 10 years being such an increased time of the anti-Muslim rhetoric and actions that have been taking place?
Military, they have no religion. Trust me. They have only money and power. Extremists, a reason, when they want to make a problem, they put that fire. It's like a fire when they want to a place to make a problem. They send those people. They make problem, but they are totally fine. They are totally okay. Even before 10 years ago and now, they are very okay with who has money. Yeah, in military times, money is everything. Money is the everything. Yes. If I can say money is everything. If you have money, they don't know you are Muslims or my minority, or they are okay. They will tell you before. I remember at once when they make a problem, they call to my father. They told me, Mr. Son, there will be some problem. You have to leave just 20 days outside the country. After that, they start firing and making problems in the city. Yeah, just like even they are protecting their partners.
Mm.
Yeah, but the problems in every government, even in democratic time, normal people are suffering.
Sure.
Yeah, even democratic time, military time, after the coup, now till now in Myanmar, normal peoples, they have to suffer everything. But I'm just wonder now on the ground, normal people they are fighting, not the premium class people.
Right.
But when we got the democracy, the premium class people they are getting benefit, not normal people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now I know some delivery guys. I was supporting to them. They are food delivery guys. They have no money. They want to join the PDF. They were asking me to support them. I was support, but I asked them. Some CDM man, his wife is pregnant. It's such emotional. This a little bit. Uh, his wife is pregnant, but he's CDM from railways. He leave his wife, his pregnant wife, and join the PDF. I asked him, why you leave your wife, pregnant wife, why you leave? He answered me, uh, if I lost my wife and son, this is only for my family loss. They believe this is why I'm blaming NUG from here. They believe even they have to, they are ready to lose their family. After my family loss, he answered me, if my personal loss is nothing to national loss, but those railway workers, they have just a dream. Nothing is actual reality. There is no reality. They fight for nothing. Even there is no support from NUG or there are a lot of CDMers. They are suffering. There is out of the we didn't arrive yet, but I'm telling this now. Even health workers, today I crossed from their housing. Their housing was perfect. They have, government housing is a flat. Now they are hiding inside the forest. Nothing. No one can stay there. There is no electricity. I was visiting them. In a day, half day will take 5 hours to get to them. They are hiding at the place. They can stay middle of the city in a good place. But I don't know why if I know this reality, I'm not that happy with NUG or this government also. They they are ignoring them, terribly ignoring them. I will take my responsibility, my words. This is not, you, if you can't take your responsibility, you don't give people fake promises. Because of their position, they destroy those family. Some people are pregnant. Some some people need oxygen every day. They are happy to sacrifice for those people. But I'm not sure when they win, they will tell about them or not.
Right. Right. So you're painting this picture of all of the little struggles that are going on to make the massive struggles of the entire country. You're painting a picture on the ground of those people that you're supporting, of the reality of their lives, of their courage and their sacrifices and what they're facing, and also talking about some of the big picture elements of NUG and the military and the different communities and such. So looking at that all together, I'll ask you a somewhat impossible question, but I'm sure it's one you've thought about quite a bit. What will it take for the people to win at this point?
We need international support. Really. We need weapons. We need army at that time. With NUG, I will tell honestly, and that, that will be practically. NUG never win themselves.
Mhm.
Never, they never win. If we are going with them, it's just a fake. But if we want to win, we need international support. I visited the EUs. I visited to them. I cannot mention. I visited 2 places inside the army, inside the PDFs with the leaders. I was with them,
Mm.
but they cannot fight back with Myanmar. They won. They have energy. They have everything. They have young armies. But if I say truly, if I say honestly, they cannot, because they cannot. It's happened in Yangon, but I don't want to happen again. In Yangon, we were fighting in Laitaya at that times. At that day, I was with them. The war, yeah, I was in Laitaya. I was with the leaders.
And what was that experience like? That was a very intense couple days there.
Yeah. At that day, I remember at 9:30, I was with them, with the leaders. They have security team. They bring us to their place. I think it's about 4 motorbikes. Bring us to their place. We were giving some charity, some food to them. We were discussing with them to support them at that time. But we were discussing about an hour, and they got a phone call. There are a lot of military trucks are coming on the bridge. They were worried about us, so I just came back at that day. If I late 10 minutes, I was with them. I cannot cross after 2 days till after 1 week. But because I saw the trucks are going other side of the roads. I was on the opposite side. Yeah, they start blocking. I saw when I left the bridge, they start block the bridge, and then I saw on the news after an hour, they killed a lot of people. They shooting a lot of people on sites at that areas. Later on, I remember from the leaders, 5 were killed by gun, and they run to another place. They joined the PDF. Yes.
So you're painting a picture that, according to your experience on this terrible day in Lengthea and looking at the different options of the EAOs and the PDFs and such, if you were imagining some kind of armed conflict in some form between the people and the military, you don't believe there's any chance of success without international support. Is that correct?
It's correct. It's not necessary to tarot. Do you know tarot?
Yes, tarot cards.
Yeah, it's not necessary to see the tarots. Yeah, we can't fight back them because we. I can say you are democratic too. Be practical. It's very far. If we are waiting to win ourselves, it will take at least, if possibility is coming, it will take 1 year. But even 1 year, it's not possible. Fight. If you go to the Shan state, you will see a lot of peoples are staying like normal. We are fighting here only in Kayin and Kachin. Even some in Shan state, they don't believe this is this. It's all about Burmese people. Yeah, because when they are dying, we was telling them last year. We were telling before 2 years. We were telling about the Rohingya. We were ignoring the whole country against Rohingya, against the truth.
Right, right.
Yeah, now we are suffering like it's called karma in Buddhism. You know what we did? We are suffering what we did before.
So you see a lack of unity right now.
Yes, yes. It's Anuji is just calling, but KIA and KNU only, they are fighting with them. But some PDF, we cannot consider just a small group. Even I can say, if we win, there's another problems too. A lot of peoples want possession too. Amongst the PDF, they will suffer too. This is why international help is the solution. It's a very good solution because even NUG is racist. Themselves, they are racist.
In what way do you find?
Yeah, if you want, if you see in their groups, in their government, they cannot put one Rohingya guy or one minority man. And just only 1%. Give me an example. They cannot. They cannot because in Buddhist peoples also they believe themselves they are superior than the other ethnic groups. They have also they have their own problems. This is why I believe if we have to win, we need international support because they will follow the international rules.
So when you talk about needing international support, what does that look like for you? It's international support coming from what sectors and support in what way?
We need only in army, R2P. Yes. I remember when I last times in Insei, there is in railway station. I was visited at that times in protesting time. I was supporting CDMers at Insei. Because people believe it's not a dreaming. It's reality. That we can solve this problem. But I'm not sure. I'm sure also they will not. They are not coming.
That was going to be my next question for you. Where do you think we're at in terms of actually getting support from international actors? I understand you saying that you feel this is the most critical thing and urgent thing in order for the people to be assured victory. But do you have any knowledge of how those talks or the possibilities are going of actually getting the support that you feel you need?
Yeah, I told you they are not coming.
So what to do?
Yeah, they are not coming. So this is why, there is no idea. Actually, there is a proper way. We are just like sailing. We have no. So we don't know where we should go. We just start sailing with fake promises at the beginning. Everybody think, oh, there will become. Nobody is coming. I found that risk in railway workers and CDMers. Yeah, they are suffering now. It's not a 1 month, 2 months problem. They have to rent their house. Even inside the jungle, they need to rent a house. Yeah, I know some people's they are going. Some kids they had broken their hands. They have to come monthly. They have to pay at least 30,000 Myanmar kyat for car rent, for taxi. That is a really big amount for them in the situation like this.
Sure.
Yeah. So when we will win. When they don't know, but they started without thinking. This is what they thought.
Right.
NUG they will support. They are listing. There is CDM support listing our name. Just they are giving list. But I asked them. I was long time supporter to them. I make some interview with them also. Even even I asked when I got a chance to NUG, I asked with one of my friends with her way to Sasa. Why they took money, those CDMers money. They were collecting fundraising for the railway workers and CDMers. Now I don't know where it's going. They have no right to take what they want because they named with CDM support.
So if there was something you could do to influence policy or direction in the NUG for them to be more effective, what would you like to see them be doing that they're not now?
Yeah, I hear it. They bought some weapons with the CDM's money. It's not totally perfect. I don't believe they have no right to do this. They even people give them for the CDM support. They have to use this money for CDM support as they promises to the CDMers to give the salary. Now CDMers are suffering for foods, not a salary. They have no money for foods. Even now, they are suffering from COVID. They have no money. They have nothing to buy. Okay, if you want to give them food, they are afraid to accept from you. They don't realize you are the informer or not. Even I am worried. I don't know if I don't know someone. I cannot take even money because some informers are coming from fundraising.
Really. And then when those informers are collecting money and trying to give those donations to people in need, if recipients collect those donations, are they then in trouble?
Of course, they
That's
are
terrible.
they are punishing to like people like us and CDMers when they got anything. This is why CDMers are afraid to accept from any person.
Yeah, that's terrible. So that because there's military informers and sympathizers that are giving fake donations to people on CDM and then arresting them and worse, that is depriving CDMers of collecting actual donations because they have to be always afraid and on edge that they can collect that.
Let me tell you something. One of my friend, his wife were collecting, helping, just small things to CDMers in our quarters. Yes, but she was pregnant. But the informers told about her to the military. She was a PDF. She was fundraising for weapons. Something like this. Informers are so terrible in Yangon or in Myanmar. In now these situations, you know, uh, I can say 90% of people were jailed because of the informers.
So what is being done about that?
No, they are talking about you. Nothing, they want more closer to the military. This is why they are talking about the supporters, wrong, very wrong things. She jailed for 3 years. That lady, she was just helping foods to CDMs, nothing else. But when they the informants inform about her, she was a PDF leader. She was fundraising and buying weapons, something like this. Big. It's even they can charge her debt.
Right. So then what is being done to protect from informers? What is the response from the people given this damage?
At this, you have to hide. If you are not famous, you can do a lot of things in Myanmar. But if you getting famous, run. Yeah. If everything secretly you have to do. Even most of the problems are coming from fundraising.
I see.
Yeah. If the informer found out about you, you have only 10 million chat, but they will inform about you 100 million chats. So the military coming to you to get the money from you.
So has there been any effort to try to stop these informers?
It's there is two ways. PDF start killing them, as you know, and keep secretly. Everything you are doing in Myanmar, just keep secretly. If you are not famous, you can do a lot of things. But I have one option that was doing. I'm moving around Yangon. It's good. It's a good way. You have to stay in a place that nobody knew about you. You have to choose a good places. Yes, there is no neighbor. Neighborhood is a problem also.
So you mentioned that one way to stay safe is not to be famous, to do a lot of great work without being known. So how you're obviously doing a lot of great work. You're supporting a lot of people on CDM and people that have needs of medicine, COVID, etc. Do you feel that you have run the risk of becoming famous? How exposed do you feel you are?
I'm walking alone. Yeah, always. I am using some people's. I'm just letting them know a part of my project. I never say anyone the whole project, even my family. It's not necessary to mention, so I did what I did. I can say after my victory, not now. I believe that. So I can do a lot of things alone. Yes, this is my. I think this is why I'm hiding, and I'm doing a lot of things. Even I was going to those area, and it's a red area. People are shooting on site. At that times, I'm just moving alone with my motorbike. Yes, I was choosing the forest. Yes, I was going alone.
So you feel relatively unknown, not gathering attention to be able to keep doing the activities that you're involved in.
Yeah.
Right. And we should mention that for listeners that want to support your work, that we do have a nonprofit, Better Burma, where any donations can go with your cause earmarked, and we can get whatever donations we receive directly to you. And we have given donations before through our nonprofit to support your work. So definitely want to encourage listeners that are able to give you more funds to work with to support people on CDM, food and medicine, and all the other great work that you're doing.
Yeah, totally. We are suffering now these days medicines and foods. If you can support, just like in Shan State, there are a lot of flooding. I think you can get food. I will send you photos too. There are some people who are suffering. And also because of the flooding, they cannot go to the villages to buy some foods. Yes. Also in Yangon, a lot we are I will plan. I was a little bit sick, and from the next week, I will try my best to support, to buy the positive patients, to buy some foods for them and some medicine, because it's not that easy to buy a medicine these days. Yes.
Right. You mentioned that you were just getting over your own sickness. I believe that you're recovering from the coronavirus. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you're improving now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How bad was your condition and being infected? And I should mention too, I'm so sorry to hear that you've had to go through this sickness with everything else you're doing and had to go through recovery. We've had to delay our interview to give you more time to be able to rest up and to heal. And even during this interview, I know that you're still struggling with coughing. So how is your condition now, and how have you been the past week?
It was so terrible. I have money. I have volunteers supporting me. Even at that times in my bed, I just start thinking, how will be possible to survive to those normal people? Not I cannot imagine. There are some peoples are dying. Couples are dying further, and son are dying inside the home. Nobody know about them. Some peoples, they are dying in beside of them. There are some eggs. They are surviving. They were trying, I'm sure. We we luckily, we have people supporting me, giving me medicines. I have some doctors, I know them. They were volunteering me. Yeah, they were calling me every day. They are giving me good medicines. I have volunteer. They are buying for me foods, and they are bringing to my door. So this is why I survive. But it's not that really easy from to survive from COVID. At that time, I decided to help those COVID patients. They need our help. This is why I will start buying. I have also meeting. I'm planning. Just I'm taking, because some doctors, my volunteer doctors, they told me to stay relaxed 1 week more. But I will plan from my home from today, from tomorrow. Sorry, I will start buying some medicines. I was because a lot of difficulties are coming in Yangon. Even some paracetamols we cannot buy. Yeah, these days. So I luckily I bought a lot of medicine before, a little bit earlier. Yeah, when I was in bed, I bought a lot of medicines too. So these medicines, I will try my best with my teams. Some doctors, they were supporting me. Also, I will support some vegetables, fruits, some fresh fruits. Yeah, they need some instead of vitamin C. I will buying for them some fruits. That is same level of vitamin C. Yeah, I will try. So people are worrying about oxygens. I will try some options. So I cannot say now, but when I walk, we got solutions for every problems. So I believe that we can support them. I really believe that.
So at this time, you're still recovering from the coronavirus. And I think this also highlights to listeners just how urgent this whole topic is in this crisis, that it's now after midnight in your time and you're still recovering yourself. And yet you're making time to have this interview, to get your voice out there, to share the story of what's happening so that more around the world can understand and support. And looking at the wider COVID crisis raging right now in Myanmar and in Yangon and the cities, what can you tell us about how bad it is there now and how much worse it's looking to get?
Yeah, my grandfather passed away last week.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, last week.
Hmm.
My father called me. There are 2,000 dead bodies the same day. So, people's not trust military play COVID center. So this is the problem. When the peoples are not trust to the government, and they are trying to cure themselves inside their home without any instructions, without any just trying to take some uh, paracetamols. They are trying their best. It's really worse. It's really worse. You have to face COVID. Would you experience doctor? Even not. I don't think even nurses can do that. So I believe when I will start with telemedicine. I will start with mobile medicine. Yeah, mobile medicines. I means I put the doctors inside the one vehicle with the medicine. They will visit the patients.
Mm.
But I have to stay. With that, I have to stay inside the homes 1 week more.
Right, right. I want to get back to something that you were saying a bit earlier about the activities that you're supporting. On the one hand, you've spoken about supporting CDMers. You mentioned the number of 1,500 people on CDM that you've personally been supporting. You're kind of traveling all over the city and outside the city yourself to be able to support this movement and these people that are in such dire condition now. And this is really one of the purest forms of nonviolent resistance to the takeover that we've seen. And on the other hand, you've also spoken about supporting the local PDF groups, wanting international support in terms of arms to be able to better resist. And so these are kind of two opposing ends of the possible response by the people to the coup and to trying to secure their freedom back. I don't mean to suggest that they're opposite, because they can be complementary in some way, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the best approach from the people at this time in securing their freedom. In the first couple of months, we saw protests that were really nonviolent from top to bottom when the military started using live ammunition and killing people just in the head in broad daylight. That alerted everyone to the fact that these massive protests could no longer happen and they were no longer safe. And we had the rise of PDF and the UG networks and things of that nature. So as you're looking at the current moment and you're looking at the nonviolent response and the violent response, where do you see these fitting together? What do you see as necessary at this time for people to properly resist and to ultimately be successful?
The only way is we have to fight.
And what do you mean by fight? That could mean a lot of things.
We want to. We are just like KIA, Kachin people. If AA is coming from, they cannot. Military, they have a lot of experience with the war and with killing people. And we people, we don't know how to kill an animal. So we are just like, primary students, and in the level in the war situations. So, but if we are optimistic, we have to be together, and CDMers and has to fight in CDMs. It's really mean to tell to the government they cannot to be normal because of the CDM, but sadly CDMs are some are, I can say 70%, 60% they are coming back because of the situations. And the we have to we can rely on PDF movements, just like attacking on them, on their station, on their police stations. Even they are suffering, because of the PDF. but in Yangon, it's not that effect than Mandalay. Mandalay is more better. Yangon, uh, before this COVID, Yangon were improving well, but with the COVID, we didn't hear some bomb blasts or some attacking these days. Maybe because of the people are busy with the COVID. But if we fight together, if I say fighting, attacking on the military, what we have with everything we have, we have to fight from even from business. We go for me. I never rent to the military any vehicle. They come to me to rent some vehicles, just like a double cab. So I refuse them. Just like this, we can support like a business, and at the end, we cannot fight without weapons. This is the best solutions to fight them, at least with the same level of weapons.
So you don't think there's really any possibility of the people achieving a victory through nonviolent means? At this point, it sounds like you feel that an armed conflict with weapons, with violence, is the only chance that the people have to win. Is that correct?
Yes, because our enemies are not human beings. They have no religions. They have no mercy. Even they have no heart. They have no family. Even trust me. Yes, even if we win, we cannot use this army to protect us. Someday they will bite us like their grandfather.
Mm. Right. May I ask, how did you come to that conclusion? Because in the early days of the protest, especially in February and March, there were strong feelings by many of trying a nonviolent approach, having many in the streets, encouraging defections, having conversations with police, and many were hoping and trying for a nonviolent solution. So for you personally, did you hold that hope in February and March, or were you not under that illusion ever from the very start? Did you believe that violence would ultimately be necessary? Or if you did support the nonviolent approach at first, what eventually changed you and shifted your thoughts on that?
I never believed we will win without nonviolence. I never believed. Yes, I never believed because I know them. I know this military. They have no mercy. They were just waiting. In February, they are learning about how to attack people. Not they are worrying to kill us. No, they are planning. At that time they plan very well. They can separate peoples in a few weeks. They were planning. Even so I know some. I know some police. They inform me to stay away from the people. They are waiting order. They are just learning. They are not afraiding people. And those military guys, they never afraid. They never afraid. When they afraid, when they lose, they will come crying. They are begging you in your feet, and they are crying you, and then they will try to kill you from the back.
So from February 1st on your side, you felt from the very beginning the only way that this coup is going to be stopped is through a force of violence on the side of the people.
Yes, I was hoping R2P also.
That's right. So the counter response to that we've heard is that there's a concern that if the people start showing more violence and there's more widespread attacks across the country, that a kind of terror state will develop, that you'll have all kinds of violence that will be enacted by non-state actors that are not under the jurisdiction of anyone or anything, and that eventually the entire country will just burn and end up being something like Assyria. That's been the counter criticism from outside of the country and encouraging people to stick to a more nonviolent attitude and thereby gain wider international support. And that once there is greater violence among the people, that's also going to start to erode some of the international support in seeing that violence is coming from both sides. So I'm sure you've heard this criticism before. What are your thoughts on this?
It's really good question, brother. About Syria, if we compare our situations with the Syria, we have trusted government. We have trusted government. People trust. If we win, if democratic, if the lady she win, she release, if she win, the next day, if she says something, people will listen. It's a really difference. There's with the Syria and other country, Iraq and other country. It's trust. Everything is going to trust. If you are a kingdom, if you are a democracy, everything is going back to, if we compare with Syria people, they are not trust their government. Iraq also. This is why they are suffering a lot. I know Iraq situations, some of my friends, they lost their home till today. They didn't get, they are still renting home because of the criticism, this war. But we believe if the international support coming, people will help themselves. People are ready to give their money. If they, really, they have, they are really brave. They are just waiting.
But it's been 6 months and they're still waiting, and there's no sign that that's going to change.
This is why I was hoping the R2P, but so we have to stop this R2P about this. This is just a dreaming, I know. But there is no possibility. We have to find a solution. But for me, I'm not that perfect in violence. Violence towards violence. I was helping to the PDF, their family. Everybody has doctors. I'm a businessman. I can support from the money side. I can support them transportations. I can taking care of their family. Yeah, this is my ability. But I have not that strong to take a weapons. I'm not that smart in that field. This is why if you ask me about the weapons and something like this, I can't give you a good answer.
Sure, and even those in the PDF, it should be mentioned, no one is coming from that background. No one is coming from any kind of background in knowing anything about violence or weapons or tactics or anything else. Even those that are choosing to join some kind of defense force or UG network, everyone is doing that with having to learn an entirely new set of skills that their background life most likely did not prepare them for in any way.
I got a phone call from one of the PDF. I was supporting his family. They are relying on NUG. This is the big problem for them.
How so?
Yeah, they were relying on, NUG is sending them the weapons. NUG bring some international support, something like this. I cannot say them. It's not possible. I just say yes. It's we hope so. But, just like these fake promises, sometimes, break some families from some people's hopes. I'm just worrying it's happened. I'm just worrying for PDF, just like happened in CDMers. CDMers in February, March, I remember at that times, NUG is repeating, we are arranging to give you salary. We are arranging after the April or May. They didn't get nothing. Till today, they didn't get nothing. If it is happened to the PDF, CDMers are not that big problem. If you compare to the PDF, they cannot come back. They have to stay the whole life in the forest. I'm so worried. It happens in 88. Some students, they stuck on the inside the forest because of the fake promises. I'm really worried about the PDFs. These things will happen because of the NUG.
I want to shift over to the other side. We're talking about the people for quite some time and talk a little about the military. And you've already given some really fascinating insight into what drives the military, being, money and power, obviously. And I think that comes as no surprise to many people. But because of your family's proximity to senior military leaders, you might have more insight into their psychology, into why they're doing what they're doing and how they feel about it. So, one of the big questions has been, why was the coup initiated when the military was already in such a good place? And since the coup has been initiated, I think one of the big questions is, what is the feeling inside the military? Have you been able to gain any understanding among ordinary soldiers or perhaps people higher up? How are they feeling right now as we're going into a half a year since the coup was initiated? How are they feeling about what position they're being placed in and their general morale?
I have a good answer for you because I cannot mention the name. The one who trusted and closer to me online, I asked him. He's my master. I asked him before 2 weeks. Yes, yeah. I beginning of this month. Yes, I asked him, Master, what should I do about the business? He told me he's hiding. He's hiding in a place. He answered me, if we win, yeah, they don't believe. They cannot. They are still in 50-50. Yes, they are in very big doubt to be win. Yes, he answered me, we are not stable yet. After I asked him about the business, so he asked me, oh, we are not stable yet. We didn't win yet. So yeah, they believe they didn't win yet. After we win, he answered me like this: after we win, come and meet me. Now I'm hiding in a place. Just same conversation. He answered me. So at that times I was happy. Yeah, they feel, just like him, his personality, believe they are still struggling. Yeah, that means we can win also.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And what do you feel about the general morale? What are you hearing about the general feeling among soldiers as we're going into a 6-month protracted conflict where they're still having to, they're still every day involved in having to, engage in what can't be a very pleasant operation?
This Myanmar is crazy. Even if he knew the truth, he will never accept. Trust me, he will put the whole army in a dangerous situation. He will die also. He's crazy, really. So you don't look his face. He's really crazy man.
So
he don't scare. You don't think he will scare. No, he don't scare. He will die on the field. Just like my conversation. He's a crazy.
I agree with you. And then I think the questions come, will the soldiers and the generals die alongside him?
I can say this military DNA is like this. They have no difference, Mayor Online or Sowen. If Mayor Online die, they will believe on Sowen. This is why I told you, the whole army, we have to burn in a place. We never trust. We cannot trust those kind of people. This is their DNA. Dogs are biting. Why? We cannot say why are they biting. No, this is their DNA. Yeah, yeah, the same thing. This military is their DNA is betraying, killing peoples. They saw at once when they come in this time, huh? In this time, they are asking peoples, where is our enemy? They are looking peoples as enemy. They are looking protesters enemy. They are enemy. They don't know. This is why when they come, they believe those protesters are their enemy. They took their phones, they are bidding, they taking their everything belongs so students. Yeah, they are taking like this. They feel free. They are taking from the enemies, not from people. They believe like this.
Right. So are you describing more the upper leadership and senior generals, or do you think this is all the way down to the bottom as well? And the reason I'm asking this is this relates to defection. Do you think that there is any possibility that as this madness draws on longer and longer, that there can be a sizable portion of soldiers in the military, even at lower ranks, who just decide to stop following orders and change sides, or at least run away and refuse to engage anymore?
Lower ranks people, maybe they will change the other side, but higher ranks people, when they feel, uh, for example, when they feel any dangerous things in higher ranks peoples, they put the whole family in jail, in a place, in a secret place. They are, and they cannot move around. For example, Turashima. Do you know Turashima? Yeah, he's one of the senior of Tengseng. Yes, this Schumer family. The whole family is in just like jail. They put in a one land house the whole family, and they are watching them. They cannot move, getting outside, because he is the higher ranks military guy also. Yeah, this is why, so he is watching Myanmar himself. He's not that safe. For example, he is watching Sowin and some other higher ranks person. If he feels some job, he put them in jail. He did yeah, after the coup. I remember there are some big changing, 3 or 4 positions they changed.
Right. So what do you think the chances might be for some defection to take place at some level as this drags on further and further, and soldiers and their families are getting increasingly unhappy?
No, for just only my point of view is it's not possible. Just like happened in Turkey, you know, the difference between Turkey army and Myanmar army is religion. Turkey army, they have religion. Those military army, they have no religion. So we cannot hope good deeds from them. Never. They can kill any times, even monks. Monks they can kill.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have no religions. Trust me, they can stole the money from Shwedagon. what what do you want from them? They have no religion. So you know, religion they are not. We cannot say even they can kill their family too. They have no parents. Yeah, they have no family. They have just obeying to the army.
So you're painting a really depressing picture of a military that does not have any humanity to appeal to, does not have any religious or moral ethics, that you feel personally defection is not very likely, and many of their families are held hostage, that there's not going to be much greater support than what we're seeing from the international community. And so the only thing that's left, in your estimation, is just a bloody, terrible conflict led by an uprising of the people. It seems like that's the picture that you're painting in front of us.
Of course, even if if I can if I'm smart in English, I can give you more good, imagination, good point of view about this military. They are more than my words. I told you. Yeah.
So this might be somewhat of a silly question, but with this depressing view that we've painted and this belief of yours that only a real armed aggression on the part of the people coming at one time across the country is what's going to bring freedom, with this view in mind, how are you feeling? Where does that leave you emotionally?
I'm not accepting. Just I am trying to solve, trying to cooperate with those peoples. So, if I'm not around, so we will win. But I'm not sure how will we win. But I will try my best. I'm always telling these words that make me stronger and stronger. So whenever I got a problems, so I will try my best. So we will win, but still we have to fight. Uh, I think I cannot tell more than this. S
So do you feel numb?
yes,
Yeah, so there's like a lack of feeling. There's like a numbness in terms of perhaps having time to process anything emotional right now. Would that be correct?
yes, yes.
Mm.
Sometimes we fight these days. I'm feeling sick. Maybe this is also I'm feeling some depression too because a long time I cannot support. It's beginning of this month. Every beginning of the month, I was supporting my CDMers. This month, I didn't visit to them. That make me a lot of depression, and also that's people are suffering outside the Yangon. It's so terrible. Even arrested. Yesterday, 5 doctors were arrested
Right.
who yeah who were curing the COVID persons. So it's really difficult, like us moving around the cities. Yes, even they don't, when they see, for example, for me, I have license. I took license for mini mart. This is why I'm a bringer. Sometimes they were asking me, where are you going? What is these items? Are you going for support CDMs or support PDF like this? They were asking me. But fortunately, I had license. I had license for Minimart. Yeah, it's if we walk, if uh, like NGOs, they need problems of the peoples. They are taking a lot of volunteers. That makes sense. They when they saw 2 3 people's young peoples, they are very happy to who catch them. So I suggest, like us NGOs, to walk, very less people. Just sometimes, if you are enough one guy, so you have to walk alone. It's more better because some teenagers, they are happy to post in Facebook to be famous. So because of them, a lot of people are suffering. Just like 5 doctors case is also like this. Sometimes informers, they are getting new from the close people from you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you're in the middle of all of this, it can be hard to process what you're actually going through because you just have to keep on and keep active and what actually needs to be done, I imagine.
Yeah. Because, when I feel depression, I just got a phone call from CDMOs. It makes me a lot of energy. they,
Hmm.
they are always asking me, we need you.
Hmm.
That sentence, it's really energy to me. That's
And
really mean to me. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure just as they give you energy, this conversation with you is giving some of our listeners energy in terms of all the work that you were doing and your belief and your passion. And that's what we're trying to do on this platform, to be able to have these conversations, to spread awareness, to gain support and understand better what's actually going on, how it feels at this moment throughout these 6 months. And as we continue on dealing with this terrible situation and this terror state that's developed.
If I say honestly, it's not from me. I'm always telling this to them also. It's just Almighty God, not from me. I'm just a reason to help them. Yes,
So do you feel your religious faith has been guiding your work?
of course, it's 100%.
Can you say a bit more about that?
Yeah, my because of this, I am surviving. I believe this because in my religion, uh, you know, if you keep secret, secret charity is more better than the announce people's and showing people's. It's in my religion. If you give charity secretly, even if your right hand is giving charity, left hand doesn't know this. This is the best charity. Yeah, I'm keeping like this. This is why maybe I'm surviving. I never post on Facebook. I never tell even my parents. They don't know about me. Even my relatives, they don't know about me.
So much of the work you're doing in supporting these 1,500 CDMers is based on your religious faith and belief.
No. This is our freedom. This is our futures. This is not religious things. This is human being. From since the coup, I never look a person with their religion. Even I can guarantee I give non-Muslims more than more than Muslims, because a lot of people are suffering are non-Muslims in front of me. I can say 98% is non-Muslims. It's not about religion, but keeping secret, doing good deeds. It's about religion. After I died, I will get my good deeds in Almighty God. Just only things. But it's 99%. It's non-Muslims. There is no CDFs. Even I never give. I remember. I can guarantee myself. Even in front of my God, I never give. He is a Muslims. I never give double. I never give. Even I don't know. I'm not trusting their religion. I never ask them their religion. I'm asking, are you a Syriama? Which is your date? Yeah, well, which department are you working? This is the whole my interesting.
And so do you feel a sense of unity now among the people, that whatever their background happens to be, whatever their ethnic and religious identity, that there's a sense of unity right now?
Yes. First of all, we are taking back our freedom. This is why we all people, not only me, we all people believe religion is not separating us. In Yangon especially, now they start understanding. Before that times it really was. They are looking Muslims, they are looking Christians, uh, even they are telling other religion. They are using this term, other religion. So they saw themselves Burmese as Buddhists superior than the other religion. This is why they are saying other religion and Buddhist. Yeah, but now it's really great because of this military coup. People got unity. Same platform, and Muslims community and even other community are working together. There is no separations like before. Even I can give you example. I was trying. I was I, I was in a place, a hill mountain place. There Christianity. There are a lot of Buddhism that is in Shan State. I'm really happy to share this story about me about my life. That village is two village is only Christian village. Uh, Buddhist villages are forcing them to convert to Buddhism. I just arrived to them. They were stopping me. I was visiting those Buddhist village. They were stopping me to do not visit that village. So I really believe at that times, okay, I have to go. They told me at that times the road condition is really bad. It took half of my day to get their village. It's 6,000 feet from the village, 6,000 feet above the level. When I arrived to them, they are Christian. They know they are Christian. They knew they are Christian, but they don't know even Jesus. They don't know the Jesus. I asked them, how you can say you are Christian? They have no, they have that village. They have no clinic. They have no school. They have no even drinking water. They asked me to build a church in their village. So I promised them to come back to them. I'm really I make a video from that trip. They have nothing. Even the whole village, only one girl, she can speak. Yeah. If I am a religious person, I have to call them to Islam, not the Christianity. But I promised them. I promised them to. They asked me. They asked me to build to build a church, to build a school, to build a clinic, to come back to them. Yeah, I made a video. I explained them about the God.
Why did they not know about Jesus? I didn't get that part.
The problem is it's really difficult to arrive them. Even those villages around them, they don't know about them. They didn't visit their village. They are very hill mountain. It's really difficult because there is no road. Even I am crossing with motorbike inside the forest. Sometimes I can share you the video. Yeah, I can share you the video. I made a video. I will send it to you, the link, Google Drive link. Maybe you can check their interview also. Yes.
So they didn't know about their own religion because no one had been able to reach their village to teach them about it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Even they have, sometimes they are eating only one meal. They have no rice. I donated to them a lot of rice bags at that time. They are really happy. They don't want anything, chicken or meats. No, they are happy to give them salt and rice. That is their life. They have, how it's the road is really difficult. So from here, I'm calling you guys because they need your help. Those village, they need, they want church. Around these villages, Buddhist village, they will become, sooner or later, they will become a Buddhist because they tried before. A lot of villages, even they were stopping me. Nobody is interesting about them. I'm really, I cannot explain, this. It's really worse.
So you do mention that since the coup, there's been a greater sense of unity and communication across different ethnic and religious groups. Does that give you any hopeful sign in the future and looking forward, if the people are to win, that there could be a new Myanmar, a new way of relating that has never existed before?
Of course, if we win, Myanmar will be very good country to stay without any racism. Now they are believing, even Buddhist people, they are believing they did wrong. They are now apologizing to the minority people, just like Rohingya. You know about this. It's happened It didn't happen before. In Myanmar, they didn't accept Rohingya words. Now it's peoples of Myanmar, peoples of Yangon, especially educated peoples. They are believing and they are announcing, they are apologizing to Rohingyas.
Yeah, so this is something incredible. And if the people were to win, we could see a new kind of progressive and democratic society potentially in Myanmar that would be something unlike the world has ever seen and coming out of that.
Yes, it's that will be a good message, good version of a good new version of Myanmar. We will see again. Inshallah.
A new version of Myanmar, but also, if this were to happen, an inspiration for the region and the world, that one could come out of a background and historical conditions like this to rebuild some new society that has very rarely occurred in human history.
But it remains, huh? It's not. It not. Just I told you before. Even in NUG, there are some races.
Right.
Yeah, some races they don't believe. Their problem is very difficult to accept other groups. They have not that brave. Even they are calling. Honestly, they are calling to the federalism, but they didn't call any group of KNU or KIA. Just they are making federalism with their own people, Burmese people. So how could be possible? Ethnic groups they don't believe this before that times. The same problem is happening in NUG also.
Right, of course. And that's important to be stated, to be able to look really clearly at these problems. And in no way do I mean to be naive that this is the kind of utopian, idealistic society that we can lead towards with just a victory. Of course, it's going to be extremely hard every step of the way, merely to say that this is a possibility, as you've said, that with the way that some of these different groups are now communicating and talking to each other in ways that have really never happened before, this gives an opening and a potentiality that we haven't really seen in Myanmar history before.
Yes.
So to close, I want to ask you a question based on your Islam faith and your Muslim upbringing. We've had Buddhists and Christians on the show, and we've spoken to them about the parts of their religious teachings that have been particularly inspiring to them during this time, whether it was something from the scriptures or a religious teacher or a memory of a story from the Buddha or from Jesus's life. So I want to ask you the same question. In going through these hard times, sometimes religious faith can be something that helps us and guides us in carrying it through. Is there something specific within Islam that is of particular support to you during these dark days?
It's it's not a religious show, but I can say, I never, even middle of the forest, I never lose my praying. Yes, even I can say, every time, anywhere, good person will do good deeds. However you are, you are Christians or you are Buddhists, but good peoples, every religions, they never teach to kill people. They never teach to do bad things. But religious person is more better than unreligious person. It's only my point of view, because religious person they are always they want in Jews, Christian, and Muslims they believe the day of judgment. So everything we do, we have the day of judgment. God, Almighty God will reward us, right? In Buddhism, they believe if we did good deeds, we will get in another life. We will get the Nibbana. So every religion, if you follow, well, you will be a good person. I'm pretty sure. For that reason, for me as a Muslims, uh, I got strength. Yes. So sometimes I'm also scared because so I was escaping a lot of times. At that times, uh, I believe my religious faith make me stronger and stronger, and and my religious faith never let me, leave these good deeds. I'm always I believe I have to. This is like a duty because if you are a doctor, if you have ability to your society, ability to support your society, eh, your ignorance is it's a sin. Yeah, in my religious faith, if I can do something for my society, for our freedom, for our future, if I stay ignorantly at this time, I didn't use my ability. The day of judgment, God will ask me why you ignore your ability, why you ignore the people, why you didn't support people. This is why I never thought about money. I never thought about my ability. This all things going back to Almighty God. He gave me this opportunity to help people. That make me stronger and give me more strength. Yes, without religion, I cannot do this. Yeah, without religion, I have no goal. I have no rewards. Yes, I have no even, a good faith make you human being. Yes.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And you referenced that you're praying. Even through these times, you have been able to continue doing the 5 times prayer a day.
Yeah, even reciting Quran.
And has that taken on a new or a different meaning to you to be doing these prayers 5 times a day and reciting the Quran? Is that giving you something different than, or having a different meaning to you than it did before the coup?
This 5 times praying is make me new strength, and safety. Give me really, really. I cannot stay. Even I cannot survive without praying. I can say that. Yes, it's just like recharging my soul. Yes.
And have you always felt that way with prayer, or is that something that you feel now after the coup?
Oh no, no, no. It's since my childhood. Yeah, I am obedient person to God.
My question is, has the relationship to it changed? So when you talk about how it recharges your soul and it gives you protection, is that something that you've always felt, or is that like a new feeling that's come with religious meaning since February?
Yeah, and this after the coup, it means to me just like safety. Before that times maybe I was free, so I cannot scare anymore. There is no scary case. But this time, for example, when I'm traveling inside the forest, I saw snake, crocodiles. For example, when I'm traveling, so my motorbike got error. I was alone on the way. I don't know I will die or not because there is no GPS. You know, there is my guide is not that perfect at the times. So we got gunshot also inside the forest. There is a lot of things will happen, but with the prayer, I feel safe. Yes, yes. I can say this. This is happened to me after the coup. Praying make me more safer, and praying. I was praying to Almighty God to do not let me uh, leave people. I want to help people till I die. This is my my purpose of living in this life. It's helping people. I am really clear. Yes, in 40 of my age, I'm now 33. 40 of my age, I will stop doing business. Yeah, I will try to help people as much as I can, inshallah.
So with your connections and with your past experiences traveling and such, I imagine that if you wanted to, you, even at this time, you could probably find some way out of the country and get to some kind of safety that you don't have here. Is that anything that you're considering?
No, I won't. Till now, or if I say honestly, I want to fight till the end. Yes, because if I leave the country, uh, there are at least 200 people. 150 is it's about 250. With slums, there are some poor aged people. There are some orphanages awaiting me, so I can help. It's around 500. I can help people. If I leave the country, is very easily. If I leave the country, those monies are mine. So I can, I can stay relaxed. But being a human being, there are purpose. When you help people, you will feel this. You cannot stay without helping hands. If you help people, you cannot stay. You will worry. One day, I am really worried, say, to stop my hands to the peoples, but I will try my best. This is why I sold my vehicles, my cars, but I never regret for this. So I'm happy. But luckily, I got a good family. My wife supporting me, my kids, they are happy to do charity. This is why I can do more better. Yeah, I'm always, this COVID happened to me. I was in last time, beginning of that month, this month, I was in orphanage. I got from this orphanage. There are 120, yes, orphanage. I helped them at the day.
I see. Well, I thank you so much for the time that you're taking. I know this is no easy thing with your condition of still healing from the coronavirus. I know this is very late at night for you, and I think this discussion has been extremely informative for our audience, and it's just so heartwarming and wonderful to hear about all the work you're doing in spite of those difficult conditions. And we continue to support you in every way we can from this platform. I know that many listeners feel the same way as they're getting through this. And I just really thank you for the time you've taken to share your story on this platform.
Thank you for your time and giving me this opportunity, and the listener. If I'm wrong or something, please forgive me. So I'm not that perfect.
As inspiring as it was to hear today's guest, I know from experience that when you're listening from so far away, there can also be a certain kind of helplessness in hearing about the struggle that people like them are now engaged in. Thankfully, we have organized a reliable way for interested listeners to provide valuable assistance to those local communities. All donations will be sent to support the protesters currently resisting the military coup. By taking an active role in helping support the movement, you can ensure that people like today's speaker have even a few more resources to draw on and can manage even another week more in their efforts. If you would like to join in our mission to support those in Myanmar who are resisting the military coup, we welcome your contribution in any form, currency, or transfer method. Every cent goes immediately and directly to funding those local communities who need it most. Donations go to support such causes as the Civil Disobedience Movement, CDM, families of deceased victims, and the purchasing of protective equipment and medical supplies. Or if you prefer, you can earmark your donation to go directly to the guest you just heard on today's show. In order to facilitate this donation work, we have registered a new nonprofit called Better Burma for this express purpose. Any donation you give on our Insight Myanmar website is now directed to this fund. Alternatively, you can visit our new Better Burma website, which is betterburma.org, and donate directly there. In either case, your donation goes to the same cause, and both websites accept credit cards. You can also give via PayPal by going to paypal.me/BetterBurma. Additionally, we can take donations through Patreon, Venmo, GoFundMe, and Cash App. Simply search Better Burma on each platform and you'll find our account. You can also visit either website for specific links to those respective accounts, or email us at info@betterburma.org. In all cases, that's Better Burma, one word, spelled BETTERBURMA. If you would like to give in another way, please contact us. Thank you so much for your kind consideration.